What's up, YouTube? So we're gonna drop a 7-hour review. I think I have like 6.5 hours, so we're just gonna round it off to 7. And I'm gonna go over what I like and what I don't like. I have enough time on it. I've ridden it multiple places, and we're just gonna jump right into this. I'll try to keep this as short as possible. The first thing I want to talk about is the seat. A lot of people that ride Yamahas are probably gonna agree with me on this. The seat's a little too rounded for me. I know on this 25 they actually flattened it out a little bit more, but it's not there yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a guts foam, and it's a bit flatter, a little bit wider, and then I'll have to change my seat cover, unfortunately, because I actually like the stock seat cover. It's pretty good. And that's the complaint for that. It's not really too big of a deal. But next we'll jump into suspension. Now this is a little bit trickier. I mean, I know KYB suspension is good, but every rider is different. Every weight is different. Skill level, all that stuff. For me personally, I know what I like in suspension, and I know what I want to feel. And out of the box, after around 5 hours, it still wasn't cutting it for me. It was still beating me up a little bit. I can feel everything, every little bump. I don't want to feel that. I want to get that suppleness and that comfortable feel that I want. Because in a long race or just riding, you know, you want to be comfortable. You don't want to feel like you're on a pogo stick. So I did change the ICS springs, and that helped a lot. Now we do have... We're going 3 rates softer in the actual springs. I'm waiting for those to come in the mail. And we're just going to tinker around with suspension. That's what you do. And I think that should give me that overall feel. But if not, we're just going to have the suspension revalved. I'll already have the springs. And we'll just go from there. So like I said, that I can't really say it's a negative, but it kind of is for me. So take it how it is. Front brake. It was crappy at first, same with the 450 I had, but I bled this thing like 3-4 times and we got it dialed in. So front brake's not an issue now. It's still a little spongy, but I think I'm just spoiled with Brembo brakes and KTMs in general because those brakes are amazing. So on the front brake. Now let's get into some positives, because there's a lot of positives. Now the rider triangle is great. I'm around 5'7", and I run the Renthal Carmichael bend, and it's perfect for me. I have the handlebars in the back position. If you're taller, you're going to move them forward, obviously. I have my forks about 7 mils from the cap to here, measure with a caliber. That plays a big factor on how your bike handles as well. Rear brake works good. It's a little touchy. I played with this rear brake pedal a lot. This thing's all janked up from a crash. I had to bend it back. So another thing, I have to compare it to KTM because I do like my KTMs. Now, this thing was so bent up, and it's still bent. You could see it. I wish you could just unscrew it like KTMs have and just put a new piece on. So if I want to order this whole piece, it's like 80 bucks. It's kind of shitty. So I think that's one thing they need to really just put in their bikes. Like, just make it removable so people can play with different tips, different sizes. It's simple stuff. So that might be a negative too, I should say. I should add that to the list because I don't like that. I want to replace the tip. I don't want to replace the whole pedal. So yeah. Where was I? Let's see. Power wise, let's talk about power. The power on this bike is great. There is no shortage of power. I don't know what they did on the motocross bike. I had the 24 model. I have a video of it. I mean, I knew in the first 5 minutes. I played with every map. I was out there for like an hour and a half. The thing was so slow. I mean, coming out in the corners, I had to clutch the crap out of that bike to get it going. I tried the hard-hitting map, every map, and it was a dog. Now, what they did with this bike, I don't know on the 25 motocross. They probably made some ECU updates. I'm not sure, but it wins every shootout, so I don't know. They put a different air box in here, obviously with the 6-speed wide ratio transmission, so that might play in a factor as well. But there's no shortage of power on this bike. I run the Stevie map. I'll see if I can put a screenshot of that up. That's the map that I like the most, and I've been riding. I've had that map too. And map 1 is the standard map, and I use that as like a wet, slippery map. I have the power from on the, what is it, the bar slider. I put it on 4, and then 1 notch up on traction control, and that's my wet, slippery map, I guess. And everywhere else, I just run the Stevie map. But yeah, no shortage of power, great power, and it's very slim. I've ridden my buddy's 22FX 250, and it's so wide. It's definitely slimmer. I think this bike handles better than the previous gen for sure. Once you get suspension figured out, you should be a-okay. What else can we talk about here? Come around this side. I moved the bike over here because of the glare of the sun. Kickstand, I mean, this is nitpicking, you know. I wish they could have tucked it in more like KTM. You know, there's certain things, I know I'm sounding like a KTM fanboy here, and I kind of am, because I know what I like. KTMs are a really good bike. I don't know what issues they're going through now, but they're still good bikes. I wish they had something you can tie right here like the KTMs have. I did it on my 450. You can drill by the KTM little strap they have on their 23s, 24s. Drill a hole, pull it through, and it just peace of mind for that little kickstand. I did put the compression ring down there just to see how much travel you're using. The steering is great. It's like a knife through hot butter. Really good. And one thing I do want to do is I want to put a hydraulic clutch. I am just not a fan of cable clutches. I'm constantly adjusting this thing, and I don't think GYTR makes a hydraulic clutch for the 250. I know they do for the 450, and I hope they're coming out with one, but I know guys are putting I think it's called Magura hydraulic clutch. Some guys use those. Might order one just to try it out. It already comes bled. It's very easy to install, and I might do that because I do feel the clutch on this bike, or on cable clutches in general, they're too on-off. I feel I can modulate the clutch way better on a hydraulic clutch. I've had enough bikes to know this by now. I have a lot of hours on different bikes, and the hydraulic clutch for me is definitely a win, 100%. Just set it, forget it. There's no adjusting. Like, I don't know. Some guys like cable, some guys like hydraulic. That's just a never-ending battle. Me personally, I like the light feel of the cable or the hydraulic clutch. It doesn't wear your fingers out. You don't get arm pump as much. And that's what I have to say about that. It's just personal preference. As far as airbox, it's all stock. I didn't remove the screen or anything. I have a guy that works at GYTR. He said it's not necessary. I mean, I could add the, what is it, the twin air high flow kit, but it's like 250 bucks. Is it really worth it? I don't know. I don't have any issues with dirt getting into this model right here, and it has plenty of power. And I have been running some VP fuel. I ran out, but I've been running pump, and I'm starting to, I usually will mix like half and half because I ride a lot, and I could run through 5 gallons of VP fuel in a week. So I have to pick my battles there, because VP fuel is about like 105 bucks, 100 bucks, whatever it is. You know, if I have to, it's either spend $200 every 2 weeks or try to mix it half and half and just be happy with it. It's a cleaner fuel, so I mean, I get it, but it'll get expensive quick because I don't ride once a week. I ride multiple times a week. Like this past week, I rode, I think 4 or 5 times. So, you know, it is what it is, I guess. We did have some trail damage. Tweaked up the radiator, but we bent it back. We had some issues, but other than that, everything's pretty solid on this bike. It rips through the woods, and we're just getting to suspension parts, and that's all I want to figure out is get the suspension dialed in, and I think it'll be the perfect bike. Now, I still do want to get some other bikes. I'm getting the itch. I'm actually looking at some XCF 250. I want to try the KTM 250. Haven't tried one of those, like one bike I haven't tried. I've tried all the other ones, Honda Works editions, KTM 350 factory editions, 300 2-strokes, 300 hard enduros, Triumph dirt bikes, as you can see. The bike came with a stand, which is pretty cool. I've had all those bikes. That bike to me felt slow. I didn't really keep that bike for too long. I didn't gel with it, so that's a whole another separate video. But as far as this, we're going to throw some graphics on it maybe. I haven't decided what. I like the OEM clean look. Like, as I'm getting older, I'm like, graphics, I don't know. Each his own. They're just graphics, but I like the OEM clean look, and I haven't picked the graphics set out that I like. So that doesn't add any performance. It's just looks. We might throw an exhaust on too, because it just looks killer. I mean, whatever, for a slip-on, I don't know, like, probably get one for like $700. Put the FMF on, look killer. Drop a couple pounds, give it a little bit more juice, but more for the looks. We'll get the hydraulic, or the GYTR fan. It's like $110, pretty cheap, just to throw it on, because lately we've been doing a lot of stop and go, slow technical trails, so I don't want this thing to start spitting out coolant. So we'll just throw that on. It has the brackets for it. And I don't know, it's really about it. You can see we've been hitting some stuff. You can see these are all beatered up. But I like these GYTR handguards. I'm not a fan of the full wraparounds. These kind of fold out of the way too, which are pretty cool. And obviously the signature Romano setup. Purple bars, white grips. They do get dirty, but we clean them. I'm gonna have to order some new ones because I've taken some falls. These are all beat to hell. And yeah, other than those few little nitpicks, I think it's a solid bike for the woods. Me personally, if I was doing moto too, I would get this bike, because this bike feels way better than the motocross bike. It really does. And it's 10 mils lower, and you still have the same amount of ground clearance. So I think it's a win-win. If you're not a fan of the kickstand, take the kickstand off. No one will even know. The only way they'll know is they'll just see the FX, change the graphics. No one will even know. The skid plate on these things are sweet. No need to even change this. It has good protection, your water pump, all that good stuff. So, I mean, it's a solid bike. No complaints. Just, like I said, some suspension tweaks, but that's mandatory on anyone that's serious about riding. So, like I said, I've probably been rambling on a little too much. So I'll probably just cut the video here. And hope you guys enjoy the video. Like, comment, subscribe. Dislike, don't matter. We'll see you guys out on the trail.